Joining me now to talk about this is John Fredericks, a conservative talk radio host and former chair of the Trump campaign in Virginia. Also with me, Republican Tyler Tannehill, who's running for a congressional seat in Kansas. His campaign is offering an AR-15 giveaway to raise money for his campaign. John, I want to start with you, because you have changed your mind about these types of assault-style weapons. Tell me how you've changed your mind.
Well, look, Carol, I'm a father of three, and I am a pro-Second Amendment person from the get-go. Without the Second Amendment, you have no freedom of speech. You have no freedom. So I'm a staunch believer in that, and obviously I was chairman of the Trump campaign in Virginia. But you know, Carol, the right and those that believe in the sanctity of the Second Amendment have to be able to have a legitimate conversation about this issue. And that doesn't mean that everybody jumps in their rabbit holes when this type of thing happens. We can't really have the debate with the Bloomberg faction or the gun restrictors, because then everybody goes into their own defense camps. I think gun owners of America have to have a legitimate conversation to each other about what can be done to curtail this. And there's a lot of options out there. Certainly, the AR-15 is a semi-automatic. I mean, who is it sold to? Why is it sold to an 18-year-old? Maybe we can raise that age to 21, so there's a little bit more maturity there. Certainly, anybody that has a history of any mental problems or social media post of killing people, I mean, all this has got to be reevaluated. I mean, I'm a staunch believer in gun ownership and the Second Amendment, but you have to be able to have a mature, legitimate conversation, because if you keep going down the same path, Carol, guess what? You end up in the same place.
So Tyler, that brings me to you and your AR-15 giveaway. Isn't that going down the same path?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we're not using this to raise money. Like you said earlier, we had this planned over a month ago to kind of coincide with the Kansas Republican convention that happened last weekend. We launched it on Tuesday. It's a free entry. You don't need to give any money for it. There's been $0 raised over this. I do agree. You know, like, we have to sit down and have this tough discussion. I'm a staunch believer in the Second Amendment. I don't think those rights should be infringed, but how do we keep our children and teachers safe in schools? You know, we had that debate with my staff.
Tyler, wait a second. So you're saying these things, but you're giving away an AR-15 to bring attention to your campaign at the very least. So how, I mean, here's John. He's saying, you know, we have to have a heart-to-heart conversation about guns in America, gun owners. And then there's you giving away this AR-15 still in light of what happened in Florida and saying that, man, we need to discuss this. But it doesn't ring quite true.
So we had that discussion with my staff. You know, do we pull it down or do we keep it going? We decided to keep it going since we did have it planned before the unfortunate event happened. And we've put the solution out on the table. We want to have that dialogue. You know, I'm not running for Congress to deal with the easy issues. This is a tough issue, and we do need to talk about it. You know, the left does attack my party for just saying thoughts and prayers. I'm a religious man. My wife and I do give our thoughts and prayers, but we have to find a solution. We've laid on the table the Faster Save Lives program. It's a program out of Ohio. They've trained 1,100 educators.
Now wait a second. I just want to go back to John. Help me out here, because maybe I'm just speaking about it from, you know, the mainstream media's perspective, right? Because I'm sure a lot of people out there are saying that. But come on, if you really want to talk seriously about the AR-15 and the AR-15 possibly getting in the hands of people who, you know, shouldn't have an AR-15, then why give away an AR-15?
This is the problem, Carol. And Tyler, with all due respect to your campaign, I wish you the best. But I think this is a really bad taste here. We just had 17 children gunned down by an AR-15, many more wounded. That could have been any of our children, any of us on this screen today. I mean, at some point, words and actions have to come together. And here's the problem. We have one of these tragedies, and then we get people like Tyler who say all the right things but don't do anything. I mean, you're giving away an AR-15, and we just buried 17 children who got shot by one. Come on, man, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, again, in all due respect, I think we have to have you're not having a legitimate conversation, Tyler, when you're giving an AR-15 away for free.
Pause for just because, you know, Tyler's on Skype, so it's difficult to hear when you guys talk over one another. But I will just say this, Tyler, about your giveaway. Will that person have a background check? Will you check into their background to see if they have psychological problems?
Yeah, the individual who wins does have to go to a gun store, go through all the background checks. We're not just going to give away a gun without doing the proper legal channels of it. So that's in place. Let me throw this at you then, Tyler, for a second, because the shooter in Florida, Nicholas Cruz, he legally bought a gun, but he had a bunch of stuff in his background. He probably shouldn't have owned that gun, but he wasn't adjudicated mentally, right? So he legally bought the gun. So how can you assure everyone that that AR-15 you're giving away will go to a person who should have it? Look, we're going to follow all the legal requirements to have and purchase a weapon and a gun. That's what we're going to do. Now, do we need to have a discussion that's going to be tough to say? Why did this individual get to purchase this gun in Florida? Where did the cracks fall through? What happened? Did the FBI not do something correctly? Do we need to look into that? We can't have people with mental health issues like this individual going around and purchasing firearms. That's part of the law. We have to have this discussion. And like the other guest said, you know, he's attacked me for doing this. Look, again, I'm running for Congress to tackle the tough issues. This is a tough issue. I support the Second Amendment fully, but how do we protect our children and our teachers, concert goers, people at church? We have to have this discussion, and that's why I'm running for office. I'm here to have the discussion. I've laid what I think a solution is on the table.
All right. So, John, again, help me out. I don't get Tyler's argument. I'm trying to keep an open mind. I really am. But if there are problems with background checks in America, why not pause on the AR-15 crap?
It's the problem with the debate that we're having is everybody jumps into their respective corners and it's empty words. Let's start with a proposal like this. Except for veterans, why don't we make the age for ownership of an AR-15 21 years old? Could we at least try that? Could we try something? Maybe that extra time of maturity, except again for returning veterans, maybe that extra 36 months of maturity or of a mental health record or something else, maybe that could be helpful. But we're not getting any change. All we're doing is defending each other's positions and then talking about, the other side talks about banning guns, which isn't going to happen in America. So there has to be some middle ground, and I think gun owners like myself, Second Amendment supporters like myself, we have to understand we have to do something, try something. It can't get worse than it is now.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, Tyler. Agreed. Tyler, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, okay? I don't believe guns should be banned. I had a gun when I was a kid because I grew up in rural America. We went hunting and we ate the deer that we hunted. I'm all for that. But I do think that we've lost the respect we ought to have for these guns. We ought to respect guns. There shouldn't be a gun giveaway because a gun, you should have to be so responsible to own that weapon because it's powerful. And we have to respect our weapons. And don't you think by just giving it away to call attention to a political campaign, it doesn't achieve that, does it?
No, I disagree. Look, listen, the AR-15 is one of the most popular firearms purchased by America. We launched this giveaway to celebrate the Second Amendment. I am a candidate. I am Republican. You know, I do believe in the Second Amendment. But as John said, you know, after an event like, unfortunate event like this happens, people seem to back in their corners, either gun bans or thoughts and prayers. Well, you know, we watched the news cycle. We were looking at it. I was the first individual running for office who said, hey, here's my solution. That night I said, hey, let's look at faster saves lives. Is it the end be all solution? I don't know, but it's a start. So when John says we're just backing into our corner, we're not. Again, this is a tough issue. You know, I'm not going to D.C. to sit down and look at the easy issues. We have to have people in D.C. Who can deal with this. And I'm here to have the discussion. I don't think we should have a ban on AR-15s. I don't think we should have a ban on pistols. I don't think we should have a ban on rifles.
Well, we understand that because you're giving one away. I got to end the conversation there. John Fredericks, Tyler Tannehill, thank you so much.